The untold story of Apostle Philip, shocking secrets revealed about his desert encounter. Few knew what truly happened that night in the scorching wilderness. Underneath the vast, starry sky, where shadows danced like whispers, Apostle Philip stumbled upon a mystery so profound it would shake the foundations of belief. Alone in the desolate sands of Samaria, the air pressed heavy with the weight of unspoken truths, he felt an urgency clawing at his heart. What awaited him was incomprehensible, an encounter that would change everything. In those days, the region brooded with stories of miracles. Philip was no ordinary man who was called to bring light to darkness. His sandals, worn from miles of preaching, pressed against sun-baked earth, echoing the surging doubts twisting within him. He gazed out at the horizon, where the golden dunes stretched endlessly, obscured in hazy illusions. Something was out there. Something waited. The desert held secrets, ancient and powerful, like the whispers of long-gone prophets. The air flickered with unseen energy, a tension crackling like the summer storm about to break. Was it the echo of a voice? Or perhaps a shadow that flickered just beyond his reach? His heart raced, echoing the promise of the divine, yet wrapped in fear. Was he guided or deceived? The night deepened, and with it grew his unease. Suddenly, a figure darted past, cloaked in shadow. A jolt surged through Philip, he felt the blood rush in his ears. "Who goes there?" he called, his voice slicing through the silence like a knife. The figure turned, revealing eyes that gleamed with an otherworldly light. It was an Ethiopian official, desperate, searching. "I need guidance," he cried, clutching a scroll as if it were a lifeline. Philip's breath hitched. The story unfolding before him was like nothing he had ever known. What were the secrets hidden within that scroll? Why was the man so restless? Could the titles etched on the coarse parchment lead to salvation or condemnation? The air between them thickened, filled with stark contrasts: fear and hope, despair and promise. The desert, a witness to their encounter, shivered under the weight of their combined quests. Philip could feel the raw energy, a tangible force pulling at him. Whispers of the past mingled with the anticipation of miracles yet to unfold. As they stood intertwined in this night, questions loomed like the start of a thunderstorm. Would they discover the truth together, or would the answers remain shrouded in mystery? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash the like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. In the hushed stillness of the desert, where every grain of sand seemed to carry tales of ages past, Philip found himself locked in the gaze of the Ethiopian official. The man's eyes sparkled not just with urgency, but with a kind of questing spirit that mirrored Philip's own. It was as if the very essence of his being emanated a profound longing for understanding, a thirst to decode the mysteries that clung to the fabric of existence. "Do you seek truth, my friend?" Philip asked, stepping closer, the heat of the midday sun yet lingering even in the coolness of the night. The official nodded, raising the scroll aloft like an offering made to the heavens. "In this scroll is the word of a prophet, yet I cannot discern its meaning," he beseeched, desperation lacing his voice. "I have traveled far, leaving behind my home, eager to uncover what the sacred text reveals." Philip's heart stirred at the sight of the scroll, worn and frayed at the edges, a testament to the official's relentless pursuit. "What do you hope to find in these words?" Philip asked, kneeling on the desert floor, creating an intimate space between them amidst the vast expanse of desolation. "The prophet speaks of a coming one, a servant who will bear the burdens of many," the Ethiopian replied, his voice trembling. "But I fear that I cannot comprehend his message. I wish to understand who this servant is, and whether there is a path that leads us to redemption." As Philip listened, a vision cascaded into his mind, a reflection of the life he had encountered in humble Galilee. The words of the prophet, a montage of hope and suffering, began to intertwine with the calling in his own heart. He sensed the divine woven into the tapestry of their conversation, a connection deeper than the night sky enveloping them. "May I see the scroll?" Philip asked softly, extending his hand. Reluctantly, the official handed it over, revealing inscriptions that resonated with an age-old promise. Philip's eyes traced the lines, and he began to read aloud the powerful verses, words filled with prophecy and destiny. The sacred narratives flowed forth like an unquenchable stream, stirring something ancient within both men. "What do they mean?" the official implored, the fever of his search intensifying with every word revealed. Philip felt a surge of revelation. "These words speak of one who will come to heal the broken, to bridge the chasm between the divine and the lost. They hint at a power that transcends earthly understanding, replacing despair with hope." The man listened intently, the flickering shadows of doubt giving way to a flicker of faith. "But who is this one?" he questioned, a tremor of uncertainty threading through his voice. "Will he come to me?" Before Philip could craft a response, a sudden gust of wind swept across the desert, swirling the sands and carrying unsettling sounds that echoed through the night, whispers or perhaps the voices of those who traveled before them. It felt as if the very air around them urged them to ask deeper questions about their fates intertwined with the ancient scroll. He was about to speak, to dive deeper into the enigma they stood against, when a fleeting image brushed against his thoughts, a path unfurling through the wilderness toward a distant light, beckoning them forward. Yet clarity slipped through his fingers, and as the moments passed, he realized the mystery was not for him to fully grasp just yet. "Perhaps we are meant to journey together," Philip suggested, his heart thrumming with awe and uncertainty. Both men stood at the precipice of understanding, bound by a quest that could lead them far beyond the desert's embrace. But what awaited them on this path? Would it deepen the secrets of the past or unveil a truth yet unwritten? With the scroll now a lifeline, they embraced the unknown that loomed before them. As the stars twinkled overhead, one lingering question surfaced, pulsing like a heartbeat amidst them: what does it truly mean to seek and be found in the shadows of doubt and faith? As dawn's first light began to spill over the horizon, painting the desert in strokes of gold and rose, Philip and the Ethiopian official prepared to journey onward. The chill of the night had retreated, replaced by the day's burgeoning warmth. Yet, it was the stillness within their hearts that echoed the loudest, heavy with anticipation and wonder. The scroll rested carefully in the Ethiopian's hands, an unspoken connection forged in their brief encounter. They walked side by side, the endless dunes stretching before them, each step a testament to their newfound companionship. Quietude enveloped them, save for the soft whisper of the wind and the occasional rustle of a lizard darting over sun-baked stones. "Your words enliven my spirit, Philip," the Ethiopian spoke, breaking the silence that had become a comfortable embrace. "You have opened the scroll's meaning to me in a way I had not fathomed. Yet, to understand fully, I need more than your explanation. I seek experience." Philip nodded, feeling the weight of those words resonate profoundly within him. The knowledge of Scripture was one thing, but the living reality of the truth penned within those passages was another. He recalled instances from his own life, moments where understanding had sprung not only from words, but from the journey itself. The time he had witnessed the humble acts of a man from Nazareth, who had embodied the very essence of those prophetic texts. "Let us walk toward that light we glimpsed in the desert," Philip suggested, feeling an urge to discover what lay beyond the horizon. "For perhaps in the seeking, we will find more than answers. We may unveil the heart of the servant the prophet spoke of." The official embraced the thought, a flicker of excitement sparking in his gaze. "And if the servant is indeed near, what then?" he pondered aloud, weighing both hope and anxiety. "Will his presence be evident to those who search with sincerity?" Philip reflected on the stories he had heard of the miracles performed, the unworthy lifted from despair, and the outcasts embraced within a newfound love. It is said that eyes become open not merely through sight, but through intention. When one seeks with an honest heart, revealing layers of desperation and desire, often they find themselves standing close to what they long for. With each step, the sun climbed higher, illuminating their path. They spoke of the scroll, of the burdens carried by the servant mentioned, and of what it meant to be weighed down yet yearn for release. Philip's voice softened. "What if the servant we seek is not just a figure of history, but a presence active among us?" As they traversed the undulating landscape, Philip began to share tales of those touched by this servant, of hearts healed, lives transformed, and hope rekindled. The Ethiopian listened deeply, his mind weaving a tapestry from Philip's words, each thread representing a different facet of potential understanding. Yet, amidst the exchange, there grew a quiet unease within Philip, a gnawing sense that the journey they embarked upon might also illuminate less palatable truths about humanity. As he spoke of love and compassion, shadows flickered at the edges of those very virtues, reminding him that redemption was not easily won. What if finding the servant challenges us to confront the darkness within ourselves? The Ethiopian asked suddenly, halting their pace and letting the question linger in the air like the scent of earth after rain. What if it is through facing our own burdens that we truly connect with him? Philip considered this with gravity, his mind racing through the memories of the complexities he had witnessed in the world. Perhaps the path toward understanding is laden with both light and shadow, he replied softly. Thus, those who earnestly seek must also be willing to confront their own reflections along the way. Their hearts stirred in contemplation as they moved forward, the promise of the unknown glistening ahead, mingling exhilaration with trepidation. Both sensed that this journey was about to reveal secrets not just woven into ancient scrolls but also etched into their own lives and souls. With the sun climbing ever higher, illuminating the expanse before them, a final question echoed in Philip's mind. What if the true journey of seeking involves not just revelation of the servant, but the revelation of ourselves in the process? As they continued their trek through the sun-drenched sands, a profound stillness enveloped them, as if the very air held its breath in anticipation of what was to come. Philip felt an urgency in his heart, an inexplicable pull urging him onward, as though the very essence of the servant awaited at the end of their path. Yet with each step, uncertainty mingled with hope, threatening to cloud the clarity they sought. The Ethiopian, ever contemplative, spoke again, his voice threaded with curiosity. If this servant carries the profound weight of our burdens, as you describe, then who are we to seek him? Are we not unworthy of such a connection? Philip paused, allowing the question to settle within the grooves of his mind. In every story I've heard, it is not the worthiness of those seeking that matters, but the sincerity of their hearts. The servant himself embraced the broken and the weary, offering not judgment, but healing and grace. As they walked, the vast landscape around them transformed subtly. They passed from soft dunes to more rugged terrain, the ground rumbling beneath their feet like a prelude to a storm. The Ethiopian stared at the ground, lost in his thoughts. Then embracing our own brokenness might be the first step toward understanding him, he mused. But how do we reconcile with our pasts when so many shadows remain? Philip considered the question weightedly, the stories he held in his heart surfacing once more. Each person carries a unique Burdina tapestry of experiences, regrets, and hopes. This servant, from what I have learned, welcomed the weary into his arms, not to cast stones, but to find the beauties hidden within their shadows. The official's brow furrowed further with doubt. Would he not turn away those like me, who are distant from knowing his heart? And if I were to find him, how would I overcome the fear that he might reveal my insecurities? Fear is a natural companion on the journey of discovery, Philip answered, his voice imbued with understanding. But it is also within that fear where transformation begins. The servant beckons us not just to step into his light, but to also bravely unveil the darkness we wish to hide. As this truth settled between them, they caught sight of a distant figure atop a rise, silhouetted against the cast of the sun. A moment of silence seized them, anticipation crackled in the air like the static before a storm. Was this the servant they sought, standing just out of reach? The Ethiopian reached for the scroll, tightening his grip as uncertainty fluttered in his chest. If that figure brings revelation, what if the truth they reveal is too much for me to bear? Philip felt a shiver at the thought, knowing all too well the potential for revelation to lay bare the raw edges of one's spirit. Yet he also recognized that in vulnerability lay the seeds of rebirth. Perhaps bearing truth is a shared endeavor. We may both stand before it, discovering together the depths of our journeys and the light within. With each hurried step towards the rise, the figure remained steadfast, unmoving yet inviting. Both men felt time stretch, the air heavy with unvoiced questions and the weight of the unyielding sun. The Ethiopian turned to Philip, the intensity of his gaze cutting through the tension of the moment. Are we ready to face what lies before us? What if what we find is not a servant at all, but the stark reflection of ourselves? Philip's heart raced in response, an intricate dance of dread and hope spiraling within him. The horizon shimmered with unspoken possibilities, a realm where the journey would inevitably lead them to something far beyond mere understanding. As they approached the figure, Philip realized that the essence of their seeking might be intertwined with the echoes of their pasts, both personal and communal. In that moment, as they stepped towards the unknown, a singular question hung in the air, waiting to be answered. was the journey toward the servant truly about unveiling him, or was it about confronting the deeper truths hidden within their own souls? The path steepened as they moved closer to the figure. Philip's heart beat a quickening rhythm, filled with wonderment and trepidation alike. The sun loomed heavy overhead, casting the two men in sharp relief against the golden expanse. As the figure came into clearer view, they recognized an overwhelming aura of peace emanating from him, a stark contrast to the yearning and anxiety they carried within. The Ethiopian caught his breath, his eyes wide as he whispered, "This presence, it feels transcendent. Is this indeed the servant whose life speaks of hope and restoration?" Philip's gaze didn't waver, captivated not just by the form before him but by the palpable energy that surrounded the figure. "I do not know what he may reveal," he responded carefully, "but perhaps our very act of seeking has already begun to transform us." When they reached the foot of the rise, the figure descended gracefully, his movements as fluid as flowing water. As he drew nearer, Philip's curiosity sharpened, the atmosphere thick with unspoken truths that begged to be uncovered. The man's eyes met theirs, and within that gaze, Philip felt a profound recognition of the deep-seated questions embedded in their hearts. "Why do you seek me?" the figure asked gently, his voice soothing yet probing, like a river cutting through land shaped by storms. The Ethiopian took a hesitant step forward, clearing his throat. "I am burdened by my past, haunted by shadows I cannot seem to escape. I seek understanding in answer to the worthiness of my soul." The figure nodded as if he understood the weight of these words. To seek understanding, one must first confront the very shadows that haunt. "What is it that you fear?" Philip watched intently, witnessing a spark of vulnerability ignite within the Ethiopian. "I fear rejection," he admitted, the truth spilling forth like rich oil from an ancient vessel. "That my sins are too great, that the essence of who I am cannot be reconciled with the purity you embody. Tell me, do you believe that my call is only for the righteous?" the figure inquired, his voice laced with compassion. "I come not to condemn, but to embrace those who know they are lost. Your journey has already begun as you stand here, seeking with an earnest heart. There is no shame in the shadows, rather, it is the acknowledgement of them that breeds grace." Philip listened with rapt attention and found himself drawn further into the conversation, his own heart echoing the Ethiopian's fears, each question intertwining with insecurities he dared not fully articulate. This servant's presence somehow promised revelation, yet also compelled a deeper reflection on their existence. But what if our reconciliation ends up unraveling the very fabric of our identities? Philip asked, his voice in earnest tremor. What if the truth we seek leads us down paths we are unprepared to tread? The figure smiled knowingly. Change often feels like unwinding, like a thread pulled from a tapestry. But remember, what appears to be unraveling can be the precursor to reformation. You must ask, what is it that you truly wish to find? Is it clarity, or perhaps acceptance of the chaos that lies within? Each word echoed in the minds of Philip and the Ethiopian, stirring restful waters long left undisturbed. As silence enveloped them once more, they felt the depth of their mutual searching rather than the answers they yearned for. The sun began its descent, casting long shadows that intertwined on the earth before them. Reflecting on the parallel truths at play, Philip couldn't shake the specter of uncertainty looming over him. In accepting their burdens, were they merely trading one set of shadows for another? In that flickering twilight, a plethora of new questions emerged with the setting sun. What does it truly mean to embrace the shadows? And in finding him, would they also uncover the depths of their own souls, or would they be lost in that very unearthing? The air thickened with the waning light of day, and as the sun sunk lower, the colors of the desert sky shifted in hues of crimson and gold. Philip felt the urgency of the moment coursing through him, an invitation to delve deeper into the mystery that swirled around them. The figure, radiating serenity, gestured for them to sit on stones worn smooth by time and weather. The Ethiopian hesitated but followed Philip's lead. They settled into the sand, feeling the warmth of the earth cradle them, as if welcoming their souls into its embrace. Tell me more of the shadows that haunt you, the figure prompted, his voice a gentle caress against the rising night. What is the burden you carry? The Ethiopian's brow furrowed as he brushed his hand against the sand, tracing invisible patterns. I am a man of power and status, yet feel bound by my own limitations. I am seen as a servant to nations, but within, I feel shackled by my potent identity, intertwined with guilt and a relentless pursuit of something more. What if your power is not meant to define you, but to serve? The figure suggested, his eyes twinkling like the first stars of evening. What if true strength lies in recognizing vulnerability? Philip found himself leaning in closer, drawn to this conversation as if it held ancient secrets, reverberating through the ages.
But can one ever reconcile their past while embracing such a calling?
He asked, wrestling with his own insecurities. How can we shed the weight of past mistakes and still lay claim to our identities within the truth? The figure paused, allowing the questions to linger in the dusk-filled air.
You seek a resolution when what lies before you is a journey.
Healing is not a linear path but a spiral that beckons you toward the core of your being, where both light and shadow dwell. The Ethiopian's eyes glimmered with a mixture of fear and hope.
Can I truly find redemption in the very shadows I fear?
Is there a path that leads not only forward, but inward? Indeed, the journey inward can illuminate the way forward, the figure replied, his tone soothing. But you must first come to accept the entirety of who you are, including the parts wrapped in darkness. The shadows do not diminish your worth, they can teach you about grace, mercy, and belonging. You may find that acceptance will lead you to a profound freedom. As the night deepened, a stillness enveloped them, and a constellation of stars emerged, dotting the expanse of the sky like flecks of silver on dark velvet. Philip's heart swelled with the weight of unspoken truths, an echo of collective stories that transcended the individuals before him. Is there not a cost to such acceptance?
Philip questioned, a frown knitting his brow.
To confront our shadows is to risk unearthing pain, disruption, chaos. Yet, chaos is often the precursor to creation, the figure responded, his gaze unwavering. In the upheaval, new life can emerge. Just as the night must yield to dawn, so too must the struggle give way to peace. Each moment spent in search is a step toward illumination, a reawakening of the spirit. As they sat in shared silence, two seekers bound by their quest for meaning, Philip felt the weight of possibilities filling the void of the night. The questions he had asked were only the beginning, whispering promises of understanding they had yet to grip fully. What lay ahead in their pursuit? Could confronting their shadows lead to both liberation and transformation, or did the echoes of their past truly possess the power to bind them? And in their journey together, would they discover that unity in vulnerability was the key to their collective salvation? The stars twinkled in a cosmic ballet, each spark a reminder of the divine mystery that enveloped them. Philip's mind churned with the weight of the Ethiopian's revelations, the darkness within him becoming palpably a shadowy reflection of his own hidden fears. The figure before them seemed to embody a wisdom that transcended the ages, but even with such proximity to truth, uncertainty lingered like the distant hum of a night breeze. Why do you speak to us? The Ethiopian finally broke the stillness, with such gentle authority. Who are you to carve paths through shadows with mere words? His voice was steady but carried an edge of desperation. The figure paused, allowing the weight of the question to settle deeply in the twilight. I am but a guide, he replied, an echo of the one who breathes life into existence.
Every soul carries the divine spark within, a remnant of belonging to something eternal.
Many seek this truth, yet few are willing to embrace the entirety of their being. The Ethiopian hung his head, wrestling with his past. I have known power, yes, but my hands were stained by decisions that cast me into exile within my own heart. How can one emerge from such desolation? By understanding the very fabric of your journey, the figure responded with a calmness that pierced through the Ethiopian's defenses. The mosaic of your life woven from mistakes and victories alike forms the complete you. Denying the darker threads only restricts your vision. It is only by embracing every fragment of your existence that you can then begin to weave a new story. Philip's heart ached as he reflected upon his own struggles. He too wandered through a tapestry of regrets, tempered by moments of faith he prayed were enough to outweigh his missteps.
What if embracing our entirety is too great a burden?
He questioned, looking to both the Ethiopian and the figure for answers. What if we fracture under the weight of the truth? The figure smiled, a knowing expression illuminating his features.
In admitting our fractures, we find connection. In vulnerability, we become whole.
Every human bears a testament of brokenness that is shared with one another, a reminder of the grace that holds us.
Do you not see?
Collective healing is a sacred endeavor. Silence once again enveloped them as the revelation sank in like the night's cool air. The Ethiopian glanced at Philip, their souls momentarily intertwined in understanding. It is not isolation but unity that heals, he whispered, tasting the weight of that truth.
And what of those who hold on to their shame?
Philip added, cautious yet curious.
Will they not battle against the very notion of connection, afraid to step out of their solitude?
A profound question, dear seeker, the figure acknowledged, nodding slowly.
Yet, healing often begins with a shared story and invitation into community. The feared shadows can become bridges rather than barriers. The act of revealing one's struggles may seem daunting, but in such vulnerability, hearts find resonance. It is there the promise of redemption begins, but redemption must be earned, the Ethiopian interjected, his brow furrowed with confusion. Is it possible for one such as I to be deemed worthy again after the choices I made? With each breath you take, you step into grace, the figure gently reassured. Redemption is not a commodity to be earned but a gift, waiting for you to accept it. It lives in recognizing that each soul is a vessel capable of transformation, a mirror reflecting the divine hope. What matters is not the weight of past actions but the intention to seek a path forward. The desert wind rustled softly around them, as if whispering secrets of ages long past. Philip felt a stir in his heart. This was more than just a conversation, it was a calling. They were being beckoned to rise from the ashes of their struggles and embrace a radical new truth that lay waiting just beyond their grasp. What lies beyond this acceptance? He pondered aloud, the question hanging heavy in the cool night air. How do we begin to transform and weave our stories anew when the past still lingers like a dark cloud? The figure looked skyward, as if seeking the answer from the very stars that bore witness to their gathering. The answer, dear friends, is a profound mystery in itself. It invites you to explore the boundless depths of your soul. As the dawn inevitably follows the darkest night, so too does transformation await those who dare to embrace the light found in their shadows. But the journey is not without struggle, only through trials may you discover the fullness of grace. As the conversation faded into an intricate weave of questions and hopes, Philip remained hung up on the flickers of possibility before them. Would they find not only healing, but a greater purpose intertwining their lives? And as the desert night stretched on, what other truths remained hidden, waiting to be unraveled in the sacred pursuit of redemption? The stars continued their silent dance overhead, and the air felt charged with anticipation, as if the very fabric of the universe was holding its breath for what was to come. The Ethiopian, his eyes reflecting the glow of distant galaxies, turned towards Philip. Do you feel it too? This warmth that envelopes us, as though the cosmos itself is beckoning us to listen more closely. Philip nodded, his heart racing with a mix of dread and excitement. There is a gravity to this moment, one that pulls us deeper into understanding. But if we are to embrace this new path together, we must confront the shadows that linger. What is it that we truly fear? The figure standing before them stirred slightly, a shadow against the backdrop of starlight. Fear, dear souls, is a formidable barrier, one constructed from the very doubts you harbor. It whispers lies that conceal the truths awaiting discovery. But the act of confronting fear is a sacred journey in itself. Tell me, what truths do you hide within your hearts? The Ethiopian's brow furrowed as he contemplated his response. I fear the rejection that may follow me if I allow myself to be seen. My choices have led to alienation, a public figure in my land, yet a solitary man in spirit. His voice trembled, caught in the tension of vulnerability and resolve. I too harbor fear, Philip confessed, his hands trembling in the cool night air. I worry that my past may overshadow my future. My choices have not always illuminated the path of faithfulness. I question if I am even worthy of this journey. Your fear shows you what you are called to overcome, the figure replied, his tone a gentle guide. It offers you a window into your longing for acceptance, and also for purpose. But remember, when burdens feel too great, they may simply be guides leading you back to your essence. Philip listened intently, allowing the figure's words to sink deep into the soil of his soul. But existence can feel so alone, can't it? People often struggle with the weight of the facade they carry. How do we honor our truths while still moving forward? By witnessing each other in grace, the figure answered with solemnity. You are not alone in your struggles. Each person you encounter bears their own weight. Within the tapestry of humanity lies an interwoven story of fracture and healing. Seek to understand rather than judge. Share and listen, in that exchange lies your shared salvation. A gentle breeze carried the figure's wisdom into the heart of the desert night, weaving it into the very air they breathed. Philip pondered deeply, a thought sparking within him. What if our shadows are but invitations to step into the light? What if sharing our burdens with each other creates the very community we long for? Indeed, dear seeker, the figure affirmed, his eyes holding a promise that spanned beyond time. In your vulnerability, you spark a revolution of understanding, a way for souls to dance together towards wholeness.
But know this, those who dwell solely in darkness cannot guide others to the light. It is in sharing the scars that healing becomes tangible. As silence enveloped them again, Philip felt a whisper of resolve begin to stir within him, mingling with the lingering doubt. But what if our scars run too deep? What if they prevent our ability to love or to trust? The figure's expression softened, his eyes filled with the depth of ancient wisdom. To love is to embrace risk, trust is the foundation of every relationship. And yes, while scars tell the tale of what has been endured, they also bear testimony to survival. Each mark holds within it a lesson, a chapter in your ongoing story of grace. The question is, what will you choose to write next? Philip's heart raced with the gravitas of that question. He turned his gaze toward the Ethiopian, who reflected a glimmer of hope. Perhaps within our collective shadows lies a transformation waiting to unfold, the Ethiopian said, considering the intertwining paths ahead. If we find the courage to reveal our truths, what stories might emerge as the daybreak loomed just beyond the horizon? The uncertainty of their journey hung in the air like an unversed melody. What awaited them as they continued to weave their stories together? Could the act of embracing their scars serve as the very key to weaving a new narrative of hope? The questions lingered, casting a serene stillness over the desert landscape, hinting at greater revelations yet to come. The dawn crept into the desert, illuminating the vast expanse with hues of gold and crimson, as if the sky were a canvas painted by divine hands. Philip and the Ethiopian remained seated, their souls intertwined in contemplation under the awakening sun. The figure before them, still shrouded in mystery, seemed to glow with an ethereal light that flickered between realms. Why do you linger here in this desolate place? The figure peered at them, his gaze piercing like sunlight breaking through a thick canopy. What draws you to the harshness of this landscape, rather than the comforts of your towns? The Ethiopian pondered the question. In my land, the opulence of my status often shrouds my spiritual quest. Here, in the quiet of the desert, stripped of distractions, I can reckon with the man I am, the man I wish to be. His voice trembled, each word a step towards unearthing his vulnerabilities. Philip felt a resonance in that declaration, echoing his own sentiments. The desert mirrors the arid landscapes of my heart. I come here to face the truths that lie buried beneath routine piety. To see if the whispers of the divine can pierce through the echoes of my past. The figure nodded, understanding glistening in his eyes. The journey into desolation can yield profound revelations. Embrace this sacred space, and let it reveal the hidden layers of your spirits. What truths lie beneath your masks? A transient silence encased the trio, each man grappling with unspoken fears and hopes. Finally, Philip broke the stillness, his voice trembling with earnestness. What if we find that our truths are not what we hoped for? What if darkness begets darkness? The figure replied, a gentle smile gracing his lips. True clarity often emerges from confronting our fears rather than avoiding them. The luminescence of wisdom is birthed in the womb of struggle, where discord meets harmony. Both your truths and your fears are necessary components of your narrative. The Ethiopian considered this deeply, his brow furrowed. If we let ourselves be seen, could we perhaps uncover our purpose through our struggles? Must we confront our individual fears to find collective strength? Yes, the figure affirmed, his tone imbued with certainty. Each fear you confront becomes a stepping stone upon which the collective narrative is built. Courage begets community, willing vulnerability beckons solidarity. In this desert space, you may exchange shadows for stories, cultivating bonds that transcend individual isolation. Both men exchanged glances, feeling the weight of possibility stirring in the air between them. Yet a lingering unease remained. Philip turned to the figure, his brow knitted in concern. But what if the cost of this journey is too steep? What if facing our fears reveals a chasm that we cannot cross alone? The figure's gaze softened, holding a compass of compassion. Fear of the unknown often masks the brilliance of what is within, the essence of faith. When you rely solely on your understanding, you may miss the power of connection and guidance. Remember, each soul you encounter carries a fragment of the divine, each holds a key to healing even in their own wounds. Philip's heart swelled with the truth of those words, yet doubt lingered, coiling tightly within him. Will I find the strength within me to transcend my fears, or will they consume me? Can this revelation lead to a path of healing, or will it only deepen my despair? As the sun rose higher, painting the world in a golden glow, the figure turned to the horizon. It is a mystery of the heart, dear ones.
Each day unfolds anew, each dawn brings opportunities to recognize the sacred in the mundane. Will you measure your worth by your failures, or will you embrace born experiences as paths to grace? Philip and the Ethiopian shared a contemplative silence, the weight of the questions thickening in the air. Hope and despair danced together, eagerly awaiting the choices that lay ahead. What stories might emerge if they chose to share their truths, to risk vulnerability amidst the uncertainty? Would this desert encounter be the catalyst for transformation, or merely a fleeting dream destined to dissolve with the daylight? As dawn's radiant fingers stretched across the horizon, illuminating the rugged terrain of the desert, Philip and the Ethiopian official found themselves enveloped in a profound stillness. The figure who stood among them, a personification of hope and wisdom, observed them with eyes that seemed to carry the weight of eternity. In the moments that followed, a recognition pierced the air heavy with expectation. A revelation awaited to unfold, a divine turning point poised to shatter their preconceptions. You seek understanding, yet hold within you the shadows of doubt, the figure spoke, his voice soothing as the gentle breeze that danced through the sands. What if such shadows are not to be feared, but embraced? In acknowledging their presence, you unlock the doors of transformation. Philip felt a stirring within him, as though a long-dormant river of truth emerged from the depths of his heart. Could it be that the shadows we carry are merely fragments of our journey? They weave the tapestry of who we are, yet they do not wholly define us? The Ethiopian's gaze flickered as he processed this thought. If shadows do not condemn us, perhaps they guide us, inviting us to confront the truths we've resisted. But will we find purpose even in our confusion? The figure smiled knowingly. Your journey is not meant to be devoid of struggle. Indeed, amid the thorns there grows resilient beauty. The path toward understanding is fraught with questions, yet therein lies your essence in unfolding, a blossoming through both light and darkness. As their conversation deepened, the sun ascended higher, casting golden hues upon the landscape. A silence fell, thick with contemplation, and in that sacred pause, a tremor rippled through the air, a divine pulse that resonated within their spirits. You are being called, the figure declared, voice imbued with unwavering authority. Not only to seek the servant of the scroll but to embody the message it bears. For you are both seekers and emissaries of grace. Philip's heart raced, realization washing over him as a tide of understanding. Are we to be the vessels through which the promise of salvation flows? Could it be that our trials are merely the prologue to our testimony? Indeed, the figure affirmed, transcending the boundaries of time and space. Each moment of struggle, each seed of doubt, serves to clarify your purpose. As you endeavor to bring light into the lives of others, you will unleash a movement of transformation, one that can ripple across nations. The Ethiopian's eyes gleamed with hope, as though an ember had ignited within. Then let us walk forward not just as individuals, but as a united force to bridge the divide between our stories and those of the hearts we encounter. The figure extended his arms, inviting them into a shared embrace, a mothering gesture that enveloped them in warmth. Know this, each of you possesses the divine spark, the ability to illuminate the path for others. The shadows may linger, but they shall not overcome the light you carry. With each encounter, you may reveal the grace hidden within your own scars. What had started as a journey of seeking had now turned into a call to action. Philip and the Ethiopian felt a shift beneath their feet, as though the desert itself bore witness to their awakening. Each step forward became a proclamation, a whispering of a new beginning, an insignificant yet monumental shift in their destinies. As they rose to their feet, the figure stood at the edge of their vision, radiating an aura of love that softened the harshness of the terrain. Remember, he said with a voice that echoed through the ages, it is within your authenticity that others shall find their way. Reveal your stories soaked in shadows, and watch as they bloom into the light. With the warmth of courage igniting their hearts, Philip and the Ethiopian commenced their journey anew, traversing the sands that felt different beneath their feet. No longer weighed down by past insecurities, they walked with purpose, united in their commitment to share the beauty of their truths, both bright and dark. In the days that followed, they traversed villages flooded with spirits yearning for hope. They learned to listen, to empathize, and to embody the grace that the servant had offered, transforming lives through the power of vulnerability and shared humanity. Their stories, woven intricately together, unfolded like petals revealing the brilliance of the sun. As the years went by, the legacy of their journey echoed in laughter and tears, lighting the way for generations to come.
The ripple effect of their transformation sparked a revolution, one that transcended borders, breaking chains of isolation, and creating a symphony of voices uniting in the pursuit of unity and love. And as the stars twinkled brightly above the vast expanse of the desert they had once traversed, the realization settled within them: true faith flourishes not in the quest for answers, but in the embrace of the journey itself, where shadows dance with light, and every heart finds its place in the divine tapestry of existence. Philip and the Ethiopian did not merely find the servant, they became the embodiment of his promise, the living testament to hope rooted amid despair. In their willingness to expose their shadows, they became the light for countless souls lost in the wilderness, proclaiming that even the darkest night will yield to dawn, and in every heart there sparkles the possibility of redemption. With hearts intertwined in purpose, they boldly marched forward, leaving imprints of grace upon the sands of time, a testament that echoes on through ages. Together, in faith, they were unfathomably greater.